Welcome to the deep dive.
Good to be here.
So you sent over a really fascinating stack of sources this time, all focused on, well, a pretty meaty topic.
Oh, definitely.
We're talking system architecture, business strategy, and then, the real nuts and bolts of how to optimize your digital assets for, what was the phrase they used?
Measurable, predictable growth.
Exactly.
Well,
Predictable. That's the key word.
it is. And for this deep dive, we really have a clear mission for you, the listener.
Okay, lay it out for us.
We want to give you the blueprint, the plan for taking a really powerful, but let's be honest, often chaotic automation platform.
Like high level or one of the big CRM.
Exactly. And turning it into a reliable, scalable business engine. So we'll start with the infrastructure, and then we're going to pivot to something really strategic.
Which is?
Google reviews. And how this one, kind of overlooked asset, can become a massive SEO force multiplier.
I think a lot of people listening right now are nodding along when you say automation chaos. They bought the software right. They were promised this streamlined efficiency, maybe even a 7-figure outcome. But what they actually end up with is often a very expensive mess.
Yeah, that analogy really hits home. It's like you've bought this precision-engineered race car.
But you're stuck driving it through a mud flat.
Exactly. And that really describes the core problem we saw in the sources. The frustration isn't usually with the software's capabilities. It's almost always the underlying architecture.
So it's not the tool, it's how you build with it.
Precisely. Businesses start out all excited, but they get tangled up so quickly in what the sources called, and I love this phrase, Frankenstein workflows.
Frankenstein workflows, that's painfully accurate.
It is. These are just complicated, stacked automations bolted together over time, and eventually they just become impossible to troubleshoot and they actively hold you back.
Yeah.
And to fix that, you need a very specific type of thinker, the systems architect.
Okay, so let's unpack that profile. The sources point to a guy named Richard Worley as sort of the embodiment of this role.
Right.
And he has this really rare blend of, on one hand, corporate discipline. We're talking people who manage 7-figure marketing budgets, advise CEOs.
The M&A stuff, yeah.
Right. And he pairs that with real entrepreneurial speed.
And that combination, that specific blend, is what's so fascinating. The sources argue it's maybe the rarest skill set in the whole digital ecosystem.
Why is it so rare?
Well, because most people are world-class at either strategy, sitting in the boardroom, mapping out the big picture, or they're world-class at pure execution. They live deep inside the software, tweaking the code.
But isn't that fusion kind of contradictory? I mean, strategy is slow and deliberate. Execution needs to be fast. How does one person or one philosophy even manage both?
That tension is exactly why it works. Scalable systems, they demand that dual perspective. The architect have to get the CEO's goals, the business model, the revenue targets,
The big picture.
the big picture. But then, in the same breath, they have to know exactly how that translates into the tiny, intricate logic of one single automation. If you're missing that connection, strategy becomes a fantasy, and the execution team just wastes months building the wrong thing.
Okay, so if that dual perspective is the engine, what's the fuel? What are the foundational principles that guide this whole architecture?
It's all driven by two things, really: clarity and predictable results. And we see 4 main principles. First, and this is non-negotiable, is an obsession with measurement.
So moving past, I think our ads are working.
Way past that. It's moving to, I can prove ad set X generated $150,000 in revenue at this specific ROI. It's about tying everything to revenue across every single customer touch point.
Okay, so that's one. What's number 2?
Number 2 is automate with purpose. And this is a big mindset shift. Automation isn't there to replace your valuable staff.
It's there to empower them.
Exactly. It's built to empower them, to streamline the junk work, eliminate bottlenecks, and get rid of the friction. It's not about cutting salary. It's about amplifying your people.
The third one seems to address the complexity.
It does. It's simplify the complex. You're taking these really sophisticated systems like attribution logic or AI integrations or, local service ads workflows.
Things that usually require a specialist.
Right. And you're engineering them into clear, documented processes that any team member can understand and use. That makes the whole system resilient.
And the final principle is about the future, not just today.
That's the 4th one. Architect for scale. You're not just putting on Band-Aids, you're building infrastructure. A really solid system has to support massive growth, new campaigns, new locations.
Going from 3 locations to 300.
Without the whole thing collapsing under its own weight. Yeah.
This sets the stage so well for defining the pain. So If you, the listener, feel that sticky, frustrating chaos in your own business, it's probably coming from one of the 5 common problems the source identified.
These failures are almost like mathematically predictable. The first and the biggest are those Frankenstein workflows we mentioned.
The bolus to get.
Yes. When they break, it's impossible to debug, they're stacked, they're confusing, and the end result is you're just missing sales and burning through ad spend.
Okay, problem number 2, reporting that just lies.
Inaccurate or just nonsensical reports, yeah. The dashboards might look pretty, but the data is garbage, and that forces leadership to make huge budget decisions based entirely on guesses, not on what's actually making money.
Then number 3, the silent killer, bad lead routing.
This is where marketing budgets just vanish. Leads go to the wrong person, the wrong department, or sometimes nowhere at all.
Which leads right into number 4, I imagine.
And it does. Teams start operating in silos. Marketing, sales, operations, they all start pointing fingers because there's no single source of truth.
And the last one is the human cost.
Yeah. Your staff is just drowning in manual tasks. And that leads to burnout, human error, fatigue, because they spend their whole day just copying and pasting data instead of talking to clients.
So that's the painful before picture. Let's paint the after. What does a properly architected system actually achieve?
It delivers 3 huge outcomes. First, it unifies the business. Marketing, sales, and ops stop being separate kingdoms.
And they start acting like one unified machine.
One machine, sharing the same data, chasing the same goals.
And that unification has to be powered by smart automation.
That's the second outcome. It automates with purpose. It gets rid of all that repetitive busy work, which cuts down human error and just gives teams their time back.
There was a case study in there, right? The wellness clinics.
A great one. For a multi-location chain of wellness clinics, this kind of architecture led to a 70% reduction in their administrative workload.
70%. That's huge. How is that even possible? Is it AI taking over?
No, it's simpler than that. It's just smarter routing and eliminating manual data entry. So instead of a person having to create a task, assign it, send a follow-up, the system just does it instantly. It lets the humans focus on the clients, not the internal logistics.
And the third benefit is trust.
Absolutely. It provides reporting you can trust. By fixing the data structure from the ground up, the system gives you real numbers, not guesses. You get total clarity on ROI, on which channels are working, and exactly where the bottlenecks are.
So now we get to the practical part, the engineering, the 4 pillars you have to build right to get rid of the chaos.
Think of these as the 4 legs of the table. If one is shaky, the whole thing just falls over.
Okay, pillar 1, lead generation systems. And the focus here isn't just generating leads, it's building a sustainable lead engine.
Right, so this means clean ad setups on Google, Facebook, LSA. It means having those critical speed-to-lead workflows.
To maximize contact rates.
Exactly. And full funnel tracking so you know the precise journey of every single prospect.
Okay, leg 1. What's pillar 2?
Operations. Automation. And the rule of thumb here is simple. If a task repeats more than twice a month, automate it.
So this is about eliminating internal friction.
Total friction removal. We're talking seamless sales handoffs, automated task assignments for the sales team, missed call automation. And for scaling brands, multi-location logic is crucial. You need the same process whether you have 3 locations or 300.
Then we get to the really technical one, the one that causes the most headaches. Pillar 3. Reporting and attribution. That doesn't lie. We've established most reporting is just wrong. Why? What's the fundamental flaw?
The flaw is that traditional tracking often only registers the first touch point. It tells you who opened the door, but not what actually convinced them to buy.
So the tracking just stops too soon.
Way too soon. You lose all the valuable data from the middle and end of the funnel.
So what's the fix?
The fix is implementing what's called opportunity-level attribution. This is the key. It means you track the lead source, not just to the opt-in, but all the way to the final sale.
And you attach the revenue number back to the original source.
You got it. And that requires clean UTM, parsing those little tags on your links. When you do that, you get true revenue-based ROI reporting. You know exactly which ad is making you real money.
And that brings us to the final piece of the infrastructure. Pillar 4, websites, funnels, and infrastructure.
This is just making sure your digital storefront is built for conversion and tracking, not just to look pretty.
So multi-location sites with geologic, review funnels, proper pixel tracking.
Bulletproof server-side tracking, yeah, all of it.
The case study for the equipment rental group really brought this all together, 40-plus locations.
Yeah, and they were a mess. They had broken attribution, so they couldn't tell which locations were profitable, and their geo-based routing was all over the place.
They were just wasting ad spend and sales time.
Completely. So after the rebuild, clean attribution, fixed routing, the results were immediate. In just 28 days, they saw over 100,000 new impressions, almost 400 new search clicks.
But the real win was the clarity.
That was the real win. The crystal clear, accurate ROI visibility. They finally knew which ads were profitable for which location. That is the power of trusted data.
And trusted data is the perfect transition because it's not just your internal numbers. It's also the quality of the data you feed the system from the outside.
Exactly. Which brings us to user-generated content, and specifically, Google reviews.
It's a data quality issue.
It is. You build the review funnel infrastructure, but then you have to optimize the input. And the big realization here is that not all 5-star reviews are created equal. The quality of the review multiplies the power of the quantity.
This is what the sources called the review showdown. You have the volume hustlers on one side.
Right, they just want hundreds of one-liners. Great service.
And on the other side, you have the SEO snipers.
The snipers get it. They might get fewer reviews, but their reviews are detailed, keyword-rich gold. They're like mini case studies that Google's algorithm can index and understand.
So the snipers are feeding Google much stronger signals.
Way stronger. They are literally weaponizing their customer feedback, and they often win.
So if we want to be snipers, what are the 4 force multipliers? What turns a good review into a great SEO asset?
Okay, first is descriptive content. A review that says they fixed my AC issues in under 2 hours is infinitely more valuable than just great service. It's full of keywords. It tells Google what problem you solve and how fast you do it.
Okay, makes sense. Second,
Geographic relevance. If the customer mentions their location, came out to my place in Peachtree City, it reinforces your service area. That is vital for local search rankings.
number 3 is photos.
Crucial. They add authenticity, they give context, and they seem to help prevent reviews from getting filtered out by Google's spam algorithms.
And the 4th one was a real deep cut from the sources, reviewer credibility.
Yeah, specifically reviews from what are called local guides.
Who are they?
They're basically power users of Google Maps. They contribute tons of high-quality content, and Google trusts them implicitly. So their reviews carry way more weight. They tend to stick during review purges, and they have a much bigger impact on local rankings.
Okay, so knowing all this, what's the actionable advice? How do you get customers to leave these amazing reviews without being pushy?
You start by making it frictionless, brain-dead easy. Send a direct text link or a QR code. Don't make them search for you.
And
Then you use a gentle prompt. Don't write it for them, but just ask them to maybe mention a few things. The service you provided, their location, maybe how fast it happened, and if they could add a photo.
that process just naturally guides them to give you the high-value stuff Google wants.
Exactly.
You know, this whole deep dive, it's really been about one thing, replacing guesswork with resilient strategic systems.
It is. It's about recognizing that the quality of the architecture matters so much more than the quantity of the software you own.
The ultimate goal is moving from that confusing complexity.
To reliable simplicity. The answer to chaos is never more software. It's better architecture and smarter data inputs, whether that's a clean UTM tag or a high-quality customer review.
And as you, the listener, reflect on this, just remember that rarest skill we talked about, that blend of strategy and execution. That's the key to building something that can actually scale. So here's the final thought. We covered the principle that routing leads correctly is more important than generating more leads. If your business has broken chaotic lead routing right now, what is one small, high-leverage step you could take to fix that bottleneck this week before you spend another $1 on ads? That is the path to predictable, profitable growth.